Hey guys, so Kyle and I wanted to get together with you here. It's been too long since we've done this, and most importantly, it's been over 5 years now that we created this thing called Fast Forward Movement, went to EXP, and we want to jump in here and just answer like what is Fast Forward Movement now? A lot of people have been asking us that because of all the tagging and the hashtags and all that, and what you see in our graphics. So what's Fast Forward Movement inside of EXP? We'll give you also the good, the bad, the ugly, kind of just everything that's been exactly what we thought it would be, what it's not. And we're going to discuss just very specifically, how do we use our group called Fast Forward Movement? Because there are groups for everybody, right? With different philosophies, with different ways of approaching how they're using these cloud-based platforms that incentivize agents to collaborate and so on. But sometimes it's just words. And how do we, we want to just take you under the hood, show you exactly what's there, what we're doing, and specifically just so that you right now you can decide kind of, does your learning environment and does your general environment fit what you want it to be? For us, it's just simply one thing. And I'll just, speak from my point of view. I'll go to Kyle because I know Kyle he has a great way of just thinking about things, and we'll give you each of our perspectives. But so I'll speak for myself. For me, Fast Forward Movement is simply a platform that we use to do the number one thing that really matters. How do we move our business forward? We're 100% production focused. Now, that doesn't mean we don't like the bells and whistles and incentives and the stuff, all the things that come with a place like EXP, but we're just really conscious of the fact that most agents are probably like us. They want to sell more homes. They want to move their business forward. And so what attracted me to finally pay attention to show up here was to have an environment that could help me actually move my business. I'll pause there just so we could go to Kyle, get his thoughts on just how he looks at all this, because we'll unpack that a lot more. But most importantly, I do want to just say this really quickly. You can't have what people say be just words. Have them take you under the hood. That's our intention here. And at some point, ask them to, instead of just talking, ask them to just settle down and actually take you inside so you can have the experience for yourself and see if it's real or it's not. And that's, in most conversations with agents, I'll end up interrupting myself and saying like, look, what more are we going to prove about how much I can articulate it? Why don't you just actually come see and experience it? But we'll unpack that a little bit more here. Kyle.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to share a video with you guys. This is a quote that occurred when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl a few years ago. And I feel like this quote really summarizes what Fast Forward is all about. So I'm going to throw this up real quick.
Expression. If you want to know the road ahead, ask the person who's been there. We found that person. 10 Super Bowl appearances, 7 victories, Tom Brady.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And so we're in this environment right now, guys. This has been a tough year for a lot of people, right? The market with rates up high, the number of transactions is down. Like, this is a difficult market. When you run into times like this is kind of that opportunity to think about, how am I going to move my business forward? How am I going to get to where I want to get to? And the thing that I've learned over my career, Dan's learned as well, is if we have a desire to get to a certain level of production, we need to get ourselves in the room with the right people, the people that are doing that kind of production, because they're the ones who are going to be able to help us get where we want to go a whole lot faster, because they've experienced everything that we're going to experience on that road. They're going to help us realize that, hey, I know it looks like you should make a right-hand turn here, but if you do, there's actually a roadblock over there. You actually want to make a left, and here's why. Oh, hey, as a heads up, there's a shortcut. If you actually, take a right at the next intersection, that's actually going to shortcut and help you get where you want to go a whole lot faster. So by being aligned with other people who are at or above the level that you want to get to, that's what's going to get you to where you want to go that much faster. And that's where that fast forward phrase comes from within the group.
Yeah. It's just interesting, because our intention right here is we haven't done one of these updates in probably a few years. Okay. We've just been busy selling houses, helping other people sell houses inside the group, and you've seen their businesses completely change. So what's cool is if you stick with us through this whole thing, you're going to get a look inside of EXP, but most importantly, inside of our group Fast Forward Movement, without us talking about revenue share and stock and healthcare and this and that. Yeah. Do those things matter? Sure. But the problem is agents that are just talking about those things are not listening to the pain of the agent right now. It's how do I sell more homes? We will help one another sell more homes. We'll help you sell more homes. And we'll take you through literally our weekly agenda here in a moment and actually show you the leaderboards inside EXP so that you can take a look at what we're talking about. And once we help you sell more homes, now those other things start to seem, like, oh, tell me about that. But most people talking about those things are missing what an agent needs now. We believe it is period. Like, who will dominate real estate as a whole, not just as a EXP group, but even just as a brokerage, will be who has the best real estate company to help realtors in the business of real estate. And then those incentives and the structure of EXP, that's when that really starts to matter the most. But Kyle, I think, do you want to jump in here and just give an explanation? Because I think a lot of the time when we say, like, look at the people we get to learn from and collaborate with every day, it's something anybody could say.
Yeah.
But let's take a look inside.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me do a quick little screen share here, because there's a lot of talk out there, right? And I don't know, talk is cheap to me. I like to look at the actual data, look at the actual numbers to see what's really happening. And it's interesting. You don't see a lot of other brokerages sharing stuff like this. They don't share their numbers. They talk about things, but they don't actually share these things. So this is up to the minute, year to date, top 10 teams in all of EXP Realty. And what's great about looking at this is there are tons of teams. I mean, just on this, what are we, top 12 that we can see here on the screen? I mean, there's all these teams have already closed. This is not closed and pending. This is actual closed transactions. You're talking about multiple teams on here doing well over $200 million of production. And then what's great is of these 12, 8 of them are part of our fast forward movement. And how cool is that, right? I mean, 8 of the top 12 teams year to date are part of the fast forward movement. And what's so great about that is that I'm not the top dog in here. You're not the top dog in here. Like, there's people in this group who have come in and were underneath us and have literally learned so much from you and I. They've surpassed us, which is really cool for us.
And we're learning from them.
But now, right, they've, like Kenny Fast, I mean, the guy's amazing. Hundreds of agents on his team right now. Like, I get to learn a lot from Kenny and from Elias about, hey, you guys went from here to here really freaking fast, right? To Kenny's name, went there so freaking fast. Like, what did you learn along the way as you grew that fast? What did you run into? What roadblock was over here that I got to avoid? And what shortcut is over there that I have to take? So being able to still learn from other people in the group is really cool. Even at this level, right? We're going to sell 400+ million this year. I'm still not even the number 1 or number 2 in the company selling 400+ million. Like, I love that I get to learn. But then we have tons of other people who've come into this company that, I mean, Jeremy Larson's a great example, right? Came in selling $9 million when he joined a few years ago, and now he's north of $200 million this year. Like, it's insane to watch the growth curve of what's happened with people inside this group, but it happens because of the environment that we've created where people are just sharing everything. Like, we do these masterminds, and we'll share the schedule here in a minute, but we do these masterminds, and to a certain extent, it's a little bit of a pissing contest, but like the best pissing contest I've ever seen, where we bring a topic up, like, hey, what are you struggling with? What's the decision you have to make in your business? Where do you need some help? And it's, I mean, a lot of the people on this list are trying to one up each other. Like, everybody's trying to add the most value. It's like, that's cool, but have you thought about this and whatever? And just piling on the value on these masterminds. And you're hearing from people that are actual practitioners in the field today, selling hundreds of freaking homes per year.
First off, I'm just curious how many pissing contests you've actually watched, because that's something new. I didn't know that about you. But it should be noted that 9% of the company, our fast forward movement, we're about 9% of the company, roughly. We're right here, that's 66% of that top 12, right? We're 55 or so percent, depending on the day, of the top 20. And that kind of just keeps going on as you get into the top 50s. So what it is that, again, you can use these platforms. EXP is an incredible platform. How do you use it? And there's other platforms out there mimicking it, right? Like, we're the new EXP, which is just kind of an interesting way to try to be important. But we are the, right? It's how do you use it? And so I'll just come back to this. If you show that one more time, Kyle, it's beware of the guru model. See, I'm at Fast Forward Movement because I'm not going to go to any singular place. Like if you put that back up, that graphic here real quick, I want to share with you. Take, for example, Tina Cole. She's on the list right here. Now, would I go somewhere because I'm just following Tina Cole? Well, Tina's got the same problem I've got. You shouldn't go anywhere because you're following me or because you're following Kyle. You shouldn't go to XYZ brokerage or place because you're following, Jim, Jenny, or Sue. The issue is how many more people in their group are there to also help you, because I'm not great at everything. Neither's Kyle, neither's Tina. But you take them plus Parker Pemberton on here, plus Porchlight, which is Mark Pattison, plus DDA and Jersey, plus you take Pemberton right there selling hundreds of homes in Minnesota. And we can keep going through this. We have 250 or so people, by the way, in our group, over 50 million in production. So there's someone always, not just someone, but 10 people in the group that will help you in an incentivized partner-like manner, regardless of what you're trying to figure out in this business. Is it a CRM issue, or is it a messaging issue? Is it a, how do I hire my first assistant issue? You name it, anything in between. And so just beware of that, because when you chase somewhere for that one person, that person's probably just like you. They have their strengths, they have their weaknesses, they get sick, they go on vacation, they get busy. But our group is 100% consistent week in, week out, and we'll show you that.
Awesome. Yeah, the thing I'd love to share, Dan, is I want to share the actual calendar of all the things that we're doing within the group. I'm going to start out with the newest thing that we've added, which I'm really freaking excited about, and the feedback from this has been phenomenal. The coolest part about this that we recently added with this new agent launch program is Charity came into our group as a relatively new agent and is somebody who plugged into the group, right, to help fast forward her career, and has had so much success as a result of what she's learned in the group that she said, hey guys, you guys have changed my life. You've done amazing things for my business. I want to give back, and I want to help all the other new agents that are coming in, just like you guys helped me when I came in. And has built out this 8-week new agent course that is so freaking good. Like literally has everything spelled out, all 8 weeks, exactly what's going to get covered, whether it's how to get onboarded or how to deal with mindset or how to handle lead flow or time management. Like there is 8 weeks jam-packed full of content to really take somebody who is coming into the business that's newer and get them up to speed and into production as fast as freaking possible. And this is just amazing to have a resource like this.
This has been really, really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. So go ahead, Dan.
No, that's all. I love it because you'll take them through right now. But she filled in a gap that was there and is a big pain point, I think, for a lot of people. How do I get started?
Definitely. And then here's the rest of just kind of the collaboration calendar that we do on a weekly basis. So we love to kick off every Monday. We kick that off with our production-focused mastermind. Dan and I host that, and we take 3 topics that are the most timely topics submitted by the members of the group. And they let us know, hey, here's what I'm struggling with. Here's what I need help with. Here's a decision I have to make. They tell us everything. We pick the 3 that we believe are going to be the most relevant to the group. And we've been running this thing. This started as 5 of us at a Panera Bread, and is now 500 of us at least every single week coming together, pouring into each other. So we kick every Monday off with that. Then that's followed by one of the more recent additions too, which is the master class. And that is where we take these topics that we have every Monday. We figure out like, hey, what are the topics where people want more? They want to go deeper, but more specific on one topic. And then we reach out to the group and we figure out who is the expert in the group on that one thing. So, Dan has sent out probably 1 million pieces of mail in his lifetime. If we're going to do something on that, like let's tap Dan on the shoulder, like, hey, Dan, you're in. Teach everybody everything you've learned, sending out 1 million pieces of mail. Oh, hey, we need to talk about calling expireds. Hey, Tina, call. You've made 1 million expired calls in your life. I need you in there. I need you to teach these guys everything you've learned making all these calls. Oh, we need to talk about video. Kyle, you've shot like 1 million minutes of video. Why don't you step in there? Let's talk about what you know when it comes to video. So those master classes have been great where we can take these topics we've kind of covered at a surface level in the mastermind and then go deep in the master class focused on that one individual topic. Then we've added 2 different layers to this, and we're going to adjust this as well. We have a lieutenants and a generals group. So these are for those who've kind of moved beyond the new agent level and are starting to build teams out. Our lieutenants, which we're going to adjust to a 15 million minimum qualifier in 50 units. So those that have shown that they know what they're doing, but they want to grow more, this lieutenants group is for you. This is where you're going to learn how to build a team, how to hire the right people, how to fire, how to manage, doing a lot of those things that are necessary as you level up. Then we have our generals group, which is 50 million or 100 units minimum. Last check, we're hovering right around 300 in our group, just within Fast Forward, that are doing that level of production. And there's over 100 doing 100 million in the group. So this is high level conversations. We're not just talking about hiring an ISA. We're talking about running an ISA department or literally running an ISA company and selling it, like much higher level conversations. We actually have that coming up here in like an hour, Dan. So I'm excited for that. Aaron Clapper, this is another example, somebody who came into the group, got a lot of value out of it and said, hey guys, I'm really good with the operations side. I want to step up. I want to be a leader, and has been leading this operations mastermind for years now. So this is, right, if you're solo, you are the operator in your business. If you're running a team, this is where you're getting your director of operations on. And now you're plugging into all the other operators within the group, sharing, kind of what's going on behind the curtain, not the sales side out front, but the operations side behind the curtain, which is arguably the most important part of this entire business, is having a really solid operations department, because agents are going to come and go, but your operations team, if you can keep the same operations team intact, you can consistently produce at a high level for years and years to come. Then two more people stepping up in the group, Tessa Sims and Rob Edwards. They stepped up, said, hey, we want to have a mastermind just for those that are solo agents, the ones that aren't running teams, that are solo, love being solo, and want to get the most out of being solo agents. So we have a mastermind for that. Then Mary Maloney, Jen Schiff, Brittany Stewart said, we want to step up. We want to host something specific to the lady leaders in the group. They've got a mastermind for that, right? Obviously, the things that Dan, you and I deal with on a daily basis are different than what they're dealing with. And so they wanted to have something to talk about, right? How do you deal with some of these mom guilt and all this other stuff that's so prevalent in our society, and really empowering these ladies to be strong leaders, both at home and in their business. And then agent attraction, John and Meyer, amazing guys, do recruiting for my team personally. These guys have some of the biggest hearts that are literally bursting out of their chest. And because of these hearts and what they give, it's amazing what they attract and what they bring into this company. And they love helping other people and sharing and seeing them succeed. And so this is what we're looking at on a every week basis, just within the group.
It's hitting me just even as I see this. It's first, like, the commitment to this, the consistency of this, like, has been huge. I mean, it's been years of doing this. We've added pieces on, but as those pieces have come on, with the first pieces being years old, we have never stopped every single week. And so you look at it and you start to think about, well, why are the top net growth, a lot of the net growth agents in EXP, why are they in this fast forward movement? Why are the top retention rates, so many of them, in this fast forward movement? It's because we speak the language of real estate. We're going to help you sell more homes. We're going to help one another sell homes. I'm just reminded of back in the day, and you've probably been annoyed by this too. Back in the day, people would, before I was here, people would show me like, hey, look at my screenshot, my rev share, my this, that. I was never that interested. I was like, dude, that's cool, but you haven't mentioned my business, so no thanks. And so we created this group that what we committed to was, let's just create the best true collaboration mastermind environment. We've all grown from what we learned from others, but what if we use these, this rev share thing that EXP does? What if we just simply, instead of getting obsessed about it, what if we just used it as the incentive to help each other at a deeper level, like partner-like level in our collaboration? If that helps us and is attractive to us to help our business grow, and if our businesses grow, then, which they've all grown many times, many multiples of X, right? Then maybe if that's attractive to us as people interested in the business of real estate, maybe that'll be attractive to other people interested in real estate. And so that's exactly what's come true. Like, my call to action, if you ever do engage with us, and we're going to give you an opportunity here at the end of this that we're doing, to come out and spend a day with Kyle and I, go to his team meeting, come to my team meeting, have a private in-person discussion, mastermind on the business and anything you're looking to do to set up your 2024. And we're going to invite you into San Diego to do that. But it's just, it's really clear to me how this environment we've built, the result is simply like where we've gotten our businesses is simply a result of the process that we've been so committed to for all of these years. And you look at the retention levels, it's because we aren't here for the promise of what could happen someday in the future when you never have to work again. And all those things people tell you. We're here because we want to grow our business. If that's you, come. My call to action, which I didn't finish that thought a moment ago, my call to action for you is the only way that revenue share should be even discussed is in the fact that it should be the most important thing to people, even if they never got a dime of it, ever. Like, we will never bring someone over promising them one nickel of that because we can't control that. But it's still the most important thing because it creates the collaboration at the depth that we're discussing, at the level at which Kyle, Mary Maloney in my market can ask me or I can ask of them of anything. And it's not like, here's the 10,000 foot view stuff that, like, good luck on the details. No, it's like, here's the details. The best thing that can happen to my life is for one of our Fast Forward movement members to just explode with business. It makes them more attractive. It brings more people in who also want to grow their business, which makes our mastermind better, which makes me get more information that I can help improve my own business, which makes it more attractive. It just goes on and on, all rooted at the center of having a productive real estate environment. There's a lot there to unpack. And then, Kyle, you can, wherever I went off the rails, you can clarify. That's the magic sauce, man. It's like, why is everyone missing it? We're doing it right in front of you. We're helping people with their real estate business, and whoops, most growth, most sustained growth, highest retention rates. It's not a mystery, but that's what we invite you to do with us.
Yeah, in addition to all of these are obviously where we come together in Zoom world. We also do 3 events a year in person. So we just finished up. We had a mastermind for a half day at Exp Con. We had a ton of amazing speakers from within Fast Forward. We also brought Barry Habib in to really get us the download on what's going on in the mortgage world. We brought John Cheplack in to teach us what's going on in the leadership world. That was an amazing event. We had, 600-700 people at that. Then we did another event earlier this year in February that was open to everybody in the group. And we brought James Clear in, like the author of Atomic Habits, who came and dropped massive value. 2 days, we rented out the Hard Rock Hotel in San Diego, came together, had an epic event there. And then we had one that's a retreat just for those at that generals and lieutenants level that we did in Whitefish, Montana. If you've never been to Whitefish, you need to add it to the list. Just in the summertime, not the winter, unless you really love the snow. It gets cold there. But we had 100 people come together. Our top performers all come out to Whitefish, had an amazing 2 days of experiences going to Glacier National Park and hiking up Whitefish Mountain and staying on the lake. Like, really cool event with high level content, not just talking about like, how do we sell another home, but how do we build a legacy? How do we create generational wealth? And how do we stop giving money to government, which is one of my favorite topics. So that was a killer event. So you have the online stuff that's happening, plus the in-person stuff that really blends everything together and builds that community that I couldn't be more proud of.
Kyle, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
Which right before I do, I'm just going to end this little calendar piece and our agenda, our training schedule with just one quick thing you already believe in. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. And people can tell you about all their collaboration. This is in our calendar. Inspect. Like, words are words. Come hang out and see. Okay. But this is in the calendar. And it's that old belief. If it isn't, it doesn't exist. And then it's just a random idea with, a little something here and a something there. This is every week for us. Kyle, the question I want to ask you is your best surprise, your biggest, or best surprise in your time in helping build this thing we call Fast Forward movement.
I think the biggest surprise has been a lot of what we just talked about, which is by us pouring into everybody in the group, it's created this culture where everybody else wants to pour into the group. And nobody is ever, you'll never hear somebody say like, Well, there might this upline, downline, all this nonsense that people want to put out there about EXP. Like, well, if somebody's not in your upline, they're not going to help you and all this stuff. Like, nobody cares in this group. What I love seeing is people like Charity jumping into, I want to give back and teach this for new agents, and Aaron Clapper, I want to teach operations. Like, I love that stuff. I also love seeing stuff where, Tina Call's jumping on a meeting for Parker Pemberton, and Parker Pemberton's hopping on a meeting for Joe Oz, and people within the group are hopping on and teaching each other's teams and not asking for anything in return, just wanting to pour into each other and share because everybody else is sharing with them. And so it creates this environment where everybody wants to share. And we understand that like a high tide is going to raise all boats. And so everybody is just trying to pour in. And overall, this group is getting lifted to higher and higher levels. What about you?
Mine's rooted in kind of a lot of what's, I think, underneath of what you're talking about. So like one thing can be that a platform creates some kind of incentive, and ours does. But having said that, like the level at which we're doing it, the level at which those things you just described are happening, at the center of it, the root of it is the relationships. And it sounds corny and all that. No, it's like there are people I did not know. And I don't mean one or two or three folks. I mean, there are people across this country that like you come again. My words are words. Who knows? Maybe I'm just a good sales guy. Who knows? Come hang out and see, feel it. The love in our community, when we were at the barber shop, like just the smiles. The barber shop, by the way, is like a fun venue in Vegas that we went to at EXPCon. Not when we all went to a barber shop, but that might be fun too. It's just the hugs, the fun, the like true care that is there. It's like I never knew I would just jump on a plane in an instant to be there for somebody in Virginia that I didn't know 24 months ago. But that entire crew we have over there from it's just amazing. It's I didn't anticipate like the heartfelt conversation that I would have this morning, literally, with Mark Zaywade in Detroit. And we're exchanging a really, really beautiful conversation about nothing to do with real estate, but about life. So that's been the biggest surprise. I'll leave that. I'll end there just because it all starts to sound like hyperbole until you actually come hang out with us. And that's why we do put so many different events together that we hope you'll be a part of, because we love to have guests at those things so you could experience them for yourselves. Words can be empty at the end of the day, so you have to come and see it.
Yeah, Dan, I got to jump into a role play with the team here in a few. So, I'd love to, let's just put this invitation out there.
Let's do it. Let me pull up the date. Make sure we don't mess that thing up.
I was just trying to find it. I don't remember the date, but Dan and I, we came together. We wanted to put this out there for those of you that are really, really looking to level up. You want to see what does it take. I mean, Dan and I combined, I think in the last 2.5 years, we've sold over $2 billion worth of homes. And so Dan and I want to both open up our offices. So we're extending an invitation. This is only for those that are like truly. I don't care if you come to EXP or not. Like, there's no obligation at all. This is just for those that are really looking and obligated to growing their business. That's the only obligation. You got to come in and you got to have an obligation that you want to grow, that you want to level up, that you want to get better. If that leads to something else, cool. If it doesn't, that's cool too. But Dan and I know that the more we give, the better off we're going to leave this place, the better off we're going to make this real estate world. And we love to give and pour into people, and it fills both of our cups. So if you are interested, you can come out here to San Diego. You're going to get to spend half a day in my office. You're going to get to hear from all of my leadership team, my directors of ops and sales and marketing and all of that. You're going to get to hear from them. You're going to ask them questions, check out the office. You're going to get to do the same thing with all of Dan's team, hear from them, his ops, his leadership, like everybody, and see what's happening inside these, multi-$100 million organizations. And then we're going to spend a little time together and have a nice little dinner and get to know each other. And that's it. When is it?
It's going to be December 5th, guys. So it's a Tuesday. It's December 5th. Kyle and I both hold our sales meetings on December 5th. So cool thing is they're all at different times. You'll be able to attend each and spend time with all of our, from our agents to our inside sales to our executives, everything Kyle just told you. So if you want to come spend the day with us, just private message us. We don't have a big fancy link or anything for you. There's no sale behind it. It's just come hang out. It's worth mentioning, like, this is something that from time to time, if we have a thing like this in the past, that's been anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 plus type experience. Like, we're not doing that. We're going into the end of the year of a tough year, into the beginning of a difficult year, on the back of big changes that are happening at the National Association of Realtor level, and the lawsuits, and as far as the class action suits go. And we as an industry are going to move really, really strongly into next year. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the vision of how to handle that, how to message into our businesses, what's been working, because by then it'll have been over a month since this has happened, month and a half or so. So how have we handled it? What have we seen? How do we get ahead of things? And here's what we know. Just stay with this between now and when we're together at that point. We couldn't be happier. And you should be happy. Kyle and I were talking about this earlier. You should be happy if you believe what we've all been saying, which is we need a more professionalized industry that is harder to act, that you can't just like sneeze and get into. That is for professionals. And so you should be happy. We are, but there's going to still be training and mindset, right, and things behind that that we'll need to pour into people that we're around. And so we'll go through that, of course. December 5th, send us a message, and we'll get Kyle to his role play. So with that, guys, wanted to give you a little look inside of Fast Forward Movement and what we're all about, what we think about every single day.
All right, that's a wrap. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.